ニューヨークでの開催となっているドジャース対ヤンキースのワールドシリーズ、ドジャース3勝で王手をかけた第4戦に大谷翔平選手は1番 DH で先発出場しました。今日も左肩に違和感を感じているように見えましたが、それでも5回の第3打席に負傷後に初となるセンター前ヒットを放ち、元気な姿を見せてくれて一安心です。試合が初回にフリーマン選手がワールドシリーズ4戦連発となるツーランホームランを放ちますが、今日はヤンキースの怒涛の打線が爆発し、ドジャースはヤンキースに11対4で大敗しました。今日負けた原因や大谷翔平選手の状態に関して話している試合後の番組を翻訳してお届けいたします。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けしております。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
Hello, welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. John Hartung here alongside Jerry Hairston Jr., Nomar Garciaparra. The Dodgers not able to finish off a sweep over the Yankees. The Yankees able to force a Game 5 in this series. Freddie Freeman, though, hit that home run in the first inning, gave the Dodgers a 2-0 lead. It was looking good at the moment. But Daniel Hudson in the third inning gave up a 2-out grand slam. The Yankees never really looked back. And, Jerry, if you're being honest, in all three phases of the game tonight for the Dodgers, just wasn't very good.
It wasn't good. Obviously, we didn't pitch well. Our defense was shaky at best, and we did not hit again with runners in scoring position. Listen, this was Volpe game. Anthony Volpe was outstanding today, really refused to lose, ran the bases extremely well outside of that hiccup, really put pressure on the Dodgers on the base pass. Obviously, that grand slam he had really energized him and his team.
You know what the benefit of being up 3-0 when you go into a series, the best of 7, is that you can afford a butt kicking like this, and that's what they got. You know, the Yankees, they refused to lose, and they took it to them. You know, early on, you had some opportunity. It was great to jump on them early. It was great to get the lead. We talked about how important that was, and then Casperas put up the 0. But I think early on, you saw Casperas was struggling with finding his command, and then you had Hudson who was struggling early on. You knew it was a bullpen game, but you needed, you know, we always talk about it's really hard to have every single guy coming out of that bullpen and be on, but you're looking early on to just find something you're hoping that they can get through to really make it before you start getting to really those high leverage guys that you're usually depending on. And unfortunately, that grand slam really took it. And, you know, and I look at that last inning though too, and when they really broke it open, we talk about not playing really well, talking about extra 90 feet. You know, Volpe there looked like possibly he might have not fouled that ball off, but you still had him out at second base, and you don't hold on to the ball, so that wasn't out there. And then that pop-up that potentially Will Smith that hits off his glove, and you're out of the inning. And now all of a sudden we have a
6-4.
6-4, 2 runs. You're going in the 9th, you know, to try to. So it's a different ball game there, but that's what we were talking about. You got to play a little cleaner, and today they didn't do that in every facet. And you know what? Listen, that happens. Turn the page, and you got to get the job done. You got one tomorrow.
Obviously, the third inning is really what changed this game, Nomar. You talked about the lack of command, struggling with command tonight with Ben Casperas, but Daniel Hudson, he hits a batter, gives up a single, then walks a batter before that grand slam.
Yeah, you see that ball just kind of coming up and in on Aaron Judge. They wanted it up, and this ball was smoked. And that was over the middle of the plate, really over the hard plate. What a tremendous play by Mookie Betts, mind you. And then the walk, and then they wanted that ball away, you know, trying to get him to roll over, and that ball just backed up right over the inner part of the plate. Not going to miss that. You know, you're saying, okay, was that the right call? Yeah, you're looking for that slider. You're looking for that spinner away. Those are ones that, you know, if he's going to pull off of it, he might miss it. He might just hit off the end of the bat. You're looking for that potential ground ball, what have you, but he did not miss that one, hit a long way.
That was the right pitch right there to Volpe. Volpe has really struggled with breaking ball, especially righty-righty, all postseason long. The thing about it is that hanging slider stayed inner half. If it's probably middle or away from him, he either swings and misses or hits it on the ground softly. But, hey, credit him. He got a mistake, and he hammered it.
Well, and tonight, the Dodgers offensively, they went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And it's kind of amazing, Jerry, the Dodgers are up 3-1 in this series. They're 4 for 26. They have 4 hits with a runner in scoring position through 4 games.
And this would be my message to the team now. Yes, you're up 3-1, and I would be like, listen, we're lucky. We're up 3 games to 1 right now. 4 for 26 with runners in scoring position. With our offense, with the talent we have in that locker room, in that dugout, 4 for 26. That needs to change starting tomorrow. So this is a really good wake-up call. I don't care who they got on the mound tomorrow. I don't know if it's Cy Young, Satchel Paige. I don't care who they got on the mound tomorrow. You figure out a way to grind out better at-bats in runners in scoring position. That has been the characteristic. We talked about going into the postseason. You got to hit with runners in scoring position. They did that in the NLDS and LCS. Now you're in the World Series. And I said earlier, you've been fortunate to have Freddie Freeman go on a heater here, go on a tear. But now, hey, take a step back, accept the butt kicking you had tonight, and get back on course and start really bearing down running scoring position because we're too talented of a team. I don't care who they have on the mound. They're a great team over there. I'm not hating on them. I'm talking about us. Yeah. We need to be better.
Yeah, definitely need better in those situations. And we're talking about Garrett Cole, and you know that you got to take advantage of that. I thought in Game 1 against Garrett Cole that they had opportunities and missed those chances early on. He made some mistakes, and they weren't able to capitalize on. You have to against a good pitcher like Garrett Cole. So hopefully, you know, they have to regroup and say we need to be better because those opportunities, we're creating opportunities. Yeah. That's a good thing. But at the same time, we always talk about like 10 hits, 5 runs. You know, they only had 6 hits today. You know, they managed 4 runs. But at the same time, you know, the opportunities do a lot more than that. And the other thing too, they also swung and missed a lot more today than we've seen over the course of this. I think that was also been the difference. You're right. They've struggled runners in scoring position, but they haven't struck out as much. And today there was a lot more swings and misses. So hopefully that cuts down.
And that would fire us up. And I know I'm kind of fired up right now. If you tell us that tomorrow in the hitters meeting, remember those hitters meeting? Yeah. What? We didn't realize that. You know, because sometimes we're not swinging the bat as way we're capable of. But if you tell that group that it's Max Muncy, Kike Hernandez, Mookie, Freddie, Ohtani, those guys have a tremendous amount of pride. So you tell them that, I have a feeling they're going to get a little ticked off and be ready to go.
And the one hit they had with the runner in scoring position tonight was in that very first inning. It was the home run by Freddie Freeman. 4th straight World Series game in this Fall Classic that he's homered. No one's ever done that before. You go back to the 2021 Fall Classic, 6 straight World Series games he's homered in. That's a Major League record, Nomar. And it's a good thing Freddie's bat has heated up at the right time.
It really has. I mean, watching him just hit, it doesn't matter where you throw it. I mean, he's locked in, having a great swing, exactly what the Dodgers need. I mean, when you have a bat like that and a threat, obviously it helps everybody else around you, aside from putting the runs on the board. So he has really been coming through. Like we said, though, it can't be just now one guy. It has to be collective, everybody, to put that pressure on the opposing team's pitching.
And he's hitting everything. Fastball. That was a slider, outer third.
Yeah.
And he hooked it into the right field corner. So, again, Freddie is locked in. Hopefully he continues to stay locked in. And listen, as an opposing team or pitcher, you're trying to figure out how can I get him out. Here is that breaking ball, outer third. He's able to get the barrel on it and hits a rocket over the right field wall. Great bat path, great swing, head down on contact. And you love to see that. Hopefully we get more of this, but it's not just one guy. We want to be 1 through 9, and that's when the Dodgers are at their best. I had a feeling, you know, a couple guys are struggling in this World Series, and guys have that little bit of a want to. Take a step back, understand, you know what? If they're going to allow you to walk. A couple times we saw a couple guys chase out of the zone, especially 3-2. Take your walk. Trust the guy behind you.
We saw Landon Knack in this game really save this bullpen, Jerry. They put them in a good spot for tomorrow's Game 5 because Knack comes in, puts up 4 innings, does not allow, or he gave up just that one run on the solo home run, but just chewed up some innings, and Doc was able to stay away from his high leverage guys to set them up for Game 5.
And listen, it is so hard to navigate your bullpen, especially in a long series. And you understand, you want to make sure, especially when you're playing 3 straight games, obviously this could have been a closeout for the Dodgers. You got to make sure you have guys that are well rested if need be, so they'll be able to come in tomorrow in Game 5 well rested, and they have their A stuff. Now, listen, on the flip side, manager Aaron Boone, he had to send everybody out because this was an elimination game for him. So maybe now tomorrow you send out a couple of those guys out. They're not going to be as fresh and maybe hang some pitches. But on the flip side, because of Knack, he gave us some length. We have a lot of our firearms out there be ready to roll.
You know, I think this game, when you look at this game, it's a lot different than the game when we're talking about the bullpen game when they were playing against the Padres. Whole different situation because obviously, very similar as you mentioned, your back's against the wall, you got a must win, you're throwing everybody, and everybody's available, and then you're seeing, you know, how you're going to play that inning by inning. It doesn't matter, and you're going, listen, I have enough for 9. I don't care. I'm not worried about extra innings. I got to find a way to just end it here based on that pitching. This is a little bit different. He knew, Dave Roberts knows going in that he had to get some length from somebody. Whether it was Kasparius be able to give it to him or Knack. And I'll tell you, when you really look at those two combined, I mean, if you're saying before the game I can get 6 innings combined by those two guys and maybe only give up 2 runs,
right,
you'll take that each and every time. You're thinking, okay, that is a phenomenal scenario. Our offense needs to go out there and score at least 4 to 5 runs, and you're going to take that and go to the high leverage. You know, it was right in between where Hudson, who had been the guy that you counted on from a high leverage situation over the course of this season, maybe struggling more toward the end of the year, but at the same time, a guy who's been there and done that, just made that mistake. He didn't have the command, made that mistake, and they made him pay.
Hey, Dave, just with the third inning with Daniel, what did you see from him that kind of led to the struggles?
Well, the 2 free passes, the hit by pitch, the walk, and he had Stanton 1-2 and just couldn't put him away. And then, you know, gets a pop-up, and he's, you know, 1 hit away from getting out of it, and leaves a slider arm side to Volpe, and, you know, that was the difference in that inning.
I know you talk like pregame about you're going to have to be careful picking your spots with guys. Is that a situation, especially when he's, you know, kind of struggling to find the zone, where you think at all about maybe getting somebody else up for the rest of that inning, or is that going to be his inning the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was his inning. I mean, I think he was at 20 pitches, something like that. He had Volpe up, so it's I'm not going to go get somebody in the third inning to get Volpe where he just popped a guy up and, you know, uncharacteristic with the hit by pitch, the walk. So, yeah, it was his inning.
Right behind Jack, Bill?
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, you had Volpe, but also Wells and Verdugo were lined up, but that would have been too early to use Abanda there or Vesia? Or you're trying to stay away from them completely today?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, I'm not going to use him in the third inning right there. Yeah, I just wasn't going to use him in the third inning, no.
And knowing, obviously, choice number 1 is to win tonight, but since that didn't happen, I don't mean this to sound flip, did this outcome in terms of pitching play out as well as you could hope?
Absolutely. I don't think anyone expected those guys to lay down, and we had some at-bats that I thought could have been better, but we knew it was a bullpen game, and you know, as far as outcomes, to have, you know, 6 guys in your pen that are feeling good, rested, I feel good about that, and being up 3-1, yeah.
We'll go to Barry on the right, and then
Hey,
Juan.
Doc, just piggybacking off of that, how do you feel about the bullpen for the rest of the series, especially since I think you used more guys last night than you did tonight?
Yeah, I feel great. It's about, you know, the guys that you have available. Some of those guys they're all rested. So we have guys that can do up, down. So where we're at with tomorrow, knowing there's an off day behind that, we're in a great spot with leverage relievers.
I'm guessing you must be glad that this is the last time in the playoffs you have to do this. You have actual starters for the next 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
On your left, Dave, Juan.
Dave, after that 5th inning, you guys were only done a run. Like, how challenging is it to kind of balance out whether you want to ride Nag for a couple more innings as opposed to maybe going some leverage guys?
It's challenging. I think that you've got to be certain that you can score some runs. There's certainly any guy that we use tonight would have not been able to pitch tomorrow. Landon actually threw the ball very well. And then when they got, you know, I thought his work was done. 4 innings, the most he's thrown in quite some time. And being down 2 going into the that last half, it just doesn't make sense to use one of your leverage guys.
And then with Ohtani, what are you seeing from his at-bats? And is the shoulder kind of messing up some?
You know, I mean, we've asked him many times over, and it's not impeding. He doesn't feel it. I just think it's just the chase. You see it. I mean, there's some big at-bats that, you know, could result in a walk and not taking the base, and chasing is, you know, hasn't been good.
Stay in that same road, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Just following up on Ohtani as well. How about on the base paths? How do you evaluate his base running with the shoulder?
I think it's been fine so far. You know, he actually slid tonight, so I don't think that it's been a problem. I mean, he's not going to be stealing bases, but I wouldn't think. But I think it hasn't been too much of a problem right now.
Just with your experience with the being down 3-0, you were on the other side, like you mentioned yesterday. What's the feeling in the clubhouse on your side now? Like, do you guys kind of feel like you know, maybe lost one? Like, obviously you did lose one, but like let one go today, or? No. I mean, I think that they beat us. Volpe took a good swing. They took advantage of a couple free passes. They tacked on later.
I do think that at bat wise, I think we could have done some things to get in their pen a little bit earlier. But again, at the end of the day, we're still in a pretty good spot, and we feel good. We'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Jack on your left.
Could you see what happened with Mookie on that fly ball in the first inning? And I don't know if you've gone back and watched it since, if you had a reaction to when he went up into the crowd and the fan.
No, I thought he had a beat on it, and he was, the fans got in the way, and the umpires got it right.
Do two more, Gabe and then Ron.
Just to reiterate, there was really no circumstance today where you would have chased the game in a sense, and was it at all tempting 6-4 in the 8th to think, well...
No, not 6-4 in the 8th. No, it wasn't. No.
And we'll finish up with Ron, first row on your right.
How sky high is the feeling in the dugout after Freddie's homer there in the first inning? And do you, even though you don't have to remind the guys there's 27 outs to go, do you have to remind them?
I don't. I think that, we were very high. We were excited. Those guys, fortunately answered back. It was a good ball game till it wasn't. I don't need to remind them that there's 27 outs. We do a very good job of playing 27 outs.
All right, Dave, thank you so much.
Right,
we'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate it.
We heard Dave Roberts talking about Shohei Ohtani, obviously the partial dislocation of his shoulder during Game 2, Nomar. And Dave says it's not limiting him right now with his at-bats. Had a single tonight. What did you think, though, of Shohei's 4 at-bats in this game?
Dave Roberts touched on it, that there's been chase, and that's exactly what Shohei's been doing. I think we've seen a lot of chase balls that you think don't look as competitive or out of the zone, and he's going after them and getting the swings and misses. I think they're forcing that, but here's a pitch that I think he usually hammers. He just misses it and gets under it. That's why I'm wondering, okay, it's the shoulder, but it could also be mechanics, because we've seen that. This was a great hit. This is something that he, hopefully he goes back and he looks at. And the reason why I'm saying looking at that one with the hit is because he really kept that front side closed. We always talk about that with Shohei Ohtani. When you look at his bat, it looks like, his front hip, it'll open, and that's fine. But what gets him in trouble is when the front hip opens and the front shoulder follows with it. When those start going together, that's what gets him in trouble. And then when you see that chase is as those start leaking out, maybe because you're maybe compensating or think you might be late because of your shoulder, and sometimes not even with an injury, you just think you're going to be late, you start leaking too soon, and all of a sudden you recognize that pitch out, and that's when you see kind of that reach and his butt ends up sticking out because now his front side is already gone, and that's the only way your body tries to reach. So you really see that chase. But when he is going well, the front side can open up, the lower half opens up, but that front shoulder still stays closed. And we know that ball ends up traveling back. It gets deeper. This is how he drives it to the other side of the field, going the other way. He stays back on pitches. And even then, if it's in, it's just like a spring that just unloads, and he can really react on the inner half. Right now, I think they're just moving too close together. And I think also if he stays close, if he tells himself, it does protect that shoulder, that back shoulder, a little bit more, because a lot of times when you open, it kind of opens up that shoulder, and then you end up reaching. So some things that, hopefully, he can talk about, maybe he sees to keep that front shoulder closed, whatever his triggers are and cues that we hear to keep it that way.
I would be more concerned if it was his front shoulder that he was the front shoulder that separated. Because it's the back shoulder, he can swing with this lead arm violently. You've seen it. He's taken hacks. The chase, I don't think, has anything to do with the shoulder, because he was kind of chasing a little bit even before that injury. So listen, he needs to get back to square one, get back to his mechanics. We know Shohei, like every hitter, kind of gets off kilter at certain points of the season, certain points of the offseason. He goes back, look at the video, and say, you know what? I pulled off that 3-2 splitter. I think in his mind he thought it was a fastball way, and he was going to go the other way, but obviously it kind of fell off the table, and he saw the swing and miss. So again, get back to square one, get back seeing the ball longer and hitting the ball on a line the other way.
And a lot of note too, we always talk about if your front arm, especially that's the strong one right now because of the injury, when your front arm is dominant, you got to think knob to the ball first.
Yes.
When you think that knob's going to the ball first, keeps the barrel above the hand, and when you take that knob first, it also helps keep that front side closed and you stay on the ball.
It's irrelevant. We lost. It doesn't matter.
How is that hand feeling? Because it kind of looked like, from our perspective, that your wrist kind of went a little bit backwards.
No, I didn't even know he grabbed my hand, so no, it's perfectly fine.
Was that about as aggressive as you've seen fans in all your time in the game?
When it comes to the person in play, it doesn't matter. We lost. It's irrelevant. I'm fine. He's fine. Everything's cool. We lost the game, and that's what I'm kind of focused on. We got to turn the page and get ready for tomorrow.
A lot of you guys were talking about that you knew the Yankees weren't going to lay down. You know, what did you see differently?
If you made it this far, you have a resilient team that's going to fight the whole time. We expect that. Obviously, we didn't play well today, and they did, and that's why they won.
What was the feeling after Freddie homered again in the first inning for a 2-0 lead up with just 1 out?
I mean, it felt great. Felt great. Trying to get on the board first, and but they fought back. Can't do anything about it now. I would say we're human beings, and we're not machines up there. So we had a bad game, and it's part of it. So we have to turn the page and get ready for tomorrow.
I'll look back on it after, hopefully when we get this thing done tomorrow. But pretty cool, obviously. Hopefully I can keep it going tomorrow.
How do you not let this loss stop the momentum that you guys have built?
I think we're going to be okay. This team knows what we got to do tomorrow. We know that we're going to come out and we're going to keep those bats down very long. So they came out swinging, and we'll try and do the same thing tomorrow.
Freddie, what did you make out of the incident with Mookie and the fans down the right field line there?
I know Mookie caught it. That's all I care about.
We heard Mookie Betts say that play was irrelevant, the one involving him making the leaping catch down the line and the fans trying to grab the ball out of his glove, another one grabbing his hand. Jerry, I've never seen anything like that on a Major League Baseball field, certainly not in a World Series game. That's scary stuff when you see fans starting to do that.
Let me say this. Yankee fans are incredible. Great fan base. They are passionate. Those two men, I wouldn't even say gentlemen, won't see a Major League Baseball field again. They're going to be banned from Yankee Stadium. They're going to be banned from every Major League Stadium because these guys really could have seriously injured Mookie Betts, whether it's an elbow. I remember Brian Roberts had a really bad incident at first base. I believe it was in New York. And he had a dislocated left elbow, messed up his career, the rest of his career. You look at the position he has with his left elbow. You don't know how that elbow is going to react to that. That guy could have kept pulling and hurt his wrist as well. These guys were escorted. Trust me, Yankee security took care of these guys. They ain't going to see Yankee Stadium again. They're not going to see a Major League Baseball field again. That can never happen anywhere at any time. And listen, I've known Mookie Betts a little bit since his time here. That's as mad as I seen him. And he didn't say anything. I'm glad he didn't address it because that's not his play. We can address it. Okay, he's focused on the field, focused on the play. Okay, but as far as fans right there, that can never happen. That does not represent the Yankee fans in any way. It should never happen. I'm sick that fans got a chance to see that, not just at the stadium, but also 17 million people watching it on TV. Can't happen.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I mean, there's a difference between going for a ball. Right. And, we were talking about at Dodger Stadium when they went into the stands and you're like, where are the fans that try to catch it and get up there? Not go after the glove, not go after the player, not attack them anyway, hold them by any means. We not said. And that was pretty bad. When you see that, what the fans were doing to Mookie, grabbing his glove, grabbing his hand, continue to fight and grab the hand. It wasn't like, oh, I caught his glove, like, oops, and like you let go right away. Like, oh, I was trying to get the ball and I just happened to get his glove. That was uncalled for, and that should never happen in a game at any place, and that was unfortunate. You talk about an unfortunate part of this game. That was definitely a major. And the one good thing is that the umpires called it right, but the other good thing is that Mookie's okay. Yeah. Because he could have been seriously injured, and that would have been really that would have been some serious stuff going on there.
All right, Freddie Freeman homers for the fourth straight game in this World Series. Let's hear from Freeman right now inside the Dodgers clubhouse. Wednesday, Jack Flaherty will take on Garrett Cole in a rematch of Game 1. This time it's in Game 5. It was a pitcher's duel. In that first meeting, Flaherty held the Yankees to 2 runs over 5 1/3, had 6 strikeouts. Garrett Cole really stifled the Dodgers hitters, throwing 6 innings, allowing just 1 run. Nomar, what are you hoping to see from Flaherty and the Dodgers in Game 5?
Well, Flaherty, I'm hoping to see more of the same. Hopefully he's able to stifle that offense, obviously they are feeling pretty good after what they did, putting up the runs in this game tonight. But at the same time, Flaherty has to go out there and establish that early, set the tone early. And then from the Dodger side, get to Cole early. I thought in that first game, there were some pitches over the middle plate that he left, and they didn't capitalize on that. So hopefully they can do that.
Absolutely. Hopefully, Flaherty keeps that ball down, use all his pitches. Cole, like Nomar mentioned, a lot of fastballs in the middle of the plate. And then as he started rolling, he started elevating that fastball. Get to him early, he'll give you a fastball to hit.
All right, another chance for the Dodgers to win their 8th World Series championship in Game 5. For Jerry, Nomar, and Kirsten, I'm John. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow pregame at 4 o'clock on Sportsnet LA.
まずは大谷翔平選手にヒットが生まれて一安心ですね。しかしながら、解説でも話していた通りドジャース全体として得点圏打率が低すぎるのが気になります。解説者もここまで勝てたのは運が良かったと言われる始末。しかしながら、根拠もあった上でバシッと言いたいことを言う番組、私は好きです。ジャッジ選手も今日の様子を見ると少しずつ調子が上がってきたのかもしれません。明日の第5戦はフラハッ投手、ゲリット・コール投手の投げ合いということで、また引き締まったゲーム展開になるかもしれませんね。ドジャースがニューヨークで優勝を決めるのか、それともロサンゼルスで山本由伸投手の先発となる第6戦にもつれ込むのか、注目していきたいと思います。皆さんは今日の試合を踏まえて、明日の試合結果はどうなると思いますか？ぜひコメント欄でご意見をお寄せください。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。